Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between tall mountains, there lived a young man named Leo. Leo was kind and hard-working, but he often felt overwhelmed by his emotions. When things did not go his way, he would become sad or angry. He struggled to handle disappointment, and even small problems seemed big to him. One day, after losing his job, Leo felt like his world was falling apart. He did not know how to move forward, so he decided to seek the wisdom of an old Stoic philosopher who lived on the edge of the village. The philosopher, a calm and gentle man named Marcus, welcomed Leo into his simple home. Leo poured out his troubles, explaining how he felt weak because his emotions controlled him. Marcus listened quietly, then smiled and said, "Emotional resilience is not about never feeling pain. It is about learning to stand strong even when the storm comes." Leo did not understand, so Marcus began to tell him a story. Long ago, there was a mighty oak tree and a thin reed growing by the river. The oak was proud of its strength, standing tall against the wind. The reed, small and flexible, bent with every breeze. One day, a great storm came. The oak, stubborn and unyielding, fought against the wind until it cracked and fell. But the reed, though it bent low, survived unscathed. When the storm passed, it straightened again, unharmed. Leo thought about this and asked, "So you're saying I should be weak like the reed?" Marcus shook his head. No, the reed was not weak. It was adaptable. It did not resist the storm. It accepted it and moved with it. That is true strength. Leo began to understand. Emotional resilience was not about being hard and unfeeling. It was about learning to bend without breaking. Marcus then shared the first lesson, acceptance. He explained that pain, loss, and difficulty are part of life. Fighting against them only makes suffering worse. Instead, we must accept what we cannot change. Imagine you are walking in the rain, Marcus said. You can curse the sky and grow angry, or you can accept that rain falls and adjust your steps. One choice brings misery, the other brings peace. Leo realized that his anger over losing his job had only made his pain deeper. The second lesson was perspective. Marcus told Leo about a king who had everything but was always unhappy, and a beggar who had nothing but found joy in small things. Our suffering often comes from how we see things, Marcus said. What feels like a disaster today may be a small problem in a year. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? If not, do not let it destroy your peace now. The third lesson was control. Marcus placed a stone in Leo's hand and said, "Squeeze it as hard as you can." Leo did, but the stone did not change. "Now, open your hand." Leo relaxed his grip. "You see, some things are like this stone. No matter how much you worry or fight, you cannot change them. But you can control how you respond. Focus on what is in your power, your thoughts, your actions, your attitude." Over time, Leo practiced these lessons. When hardships came, he reminded himself to accept what he could not change. When fear or sadness threatened to overwhelm him, he asked, "Is this worth my peace?" And when faced with problems, he focused only on what he could control. Slowly he became stronger, not because he stopped feeling pain, but because he learned how to move through it without falling apart. Years later, a terrible drought struck the village. Crops failed, and many people grew desperate. But Leo remained steady. He could not make the rain come, but he could help his neighbors, ration food wisely, and keep hope alive. People began to come to him for advice, just as he had once gone to Marcus. When they asked how he stayed so calm, he told them the story of the oak and the reed. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, Marcus visited Leo. He saw how much his student had grown, and he smiled. "You have learned well," he said. "Now you understand, emotional resilience is not about avoiding storms. It is about learning to dance in the rain." And so Leo lived the rest of his days with a quiet strength, knowing that no matter what life brought, he could bend without breaking. The storms still came, as they always do, but now he faced them with courage, wisdom, and an unshakable heart. The end.